Hello everyone, welcome. It's good to see everyone here tonight. There are going to be people rolling in, but I want to start right away at 7. We're going to try to get everything done in an hour. Mr. Mormino and I will stick around for a little while for questions if you have any. So it's great to have everybody here. All right, and I've got to, I love to move, but I'm going to I've got to kind of stay in one spot, and Mr. Mormino is going to help me do that because we're videotaping this for the first time. There's a lot of things going on tonight. You know how it is. I'm sure some of you are missing games or whatever. So we're going to videotape it, and it'll be posted tomorrow on our website under Student Services, the Student Services website, along with this PowerPoint that I'm giving. So the video is not going to be very helpful to you, but the PowerPoint will really be helpful because we have a lot of, I think it's called hyperlinks on here that you just click and you go to a website that'll be helpful to you. So, all right, so here we go. First of all, my name's Dan Maloney, and I am a counselor here at Memorial High School, working with kids in the Rock neighborhood. Last name's letter A through P. And I've got a couple people I want to just introduce. In the back is Mr. Affelt is here joining us as well. And up front here with me is Mr. Mormino, another counselor here. And like I said, when I'm done with the presentation, Mr. Mormino and I will spread out and we will answer your questions. Now, we might not be real helpful answering specific questions about your child, but if you have general ones, you certainly can come and ask us. You're going to hear me a lot tonight say, call your child's counselor, talk to your son or daughter's counselor. I know Mr. Mormino does, I love having you all call us, come in for a meeting. A lot of times your child doesn't like you coming in for a meeting with them, but it can be very beneficial because you know how it is at home. You're asking questions and they're saying, they're grunting at you. So, we'd love to have you come in and meet with us or just, ask some questions or call us or email us. All right, so raise your hand if you've already been through this. Raise your hand. So I've been doing this, I think, about 9 years, so it might have been with me. It could have been somebody else before that. But I love it when people come back because there's always new things you have to learn. So what we're going to do tonight is talk about what your children need to do to be ready for next year, because there are a lot of things right now on the timeline that they have to get working on. And the great thing about this PowerPoint is right now you don't have to take any notes, really. You can look tomorrow online. It'll be online. If you can't find it, you email me, and I'll email it to you right away. But this PowerPoint is really informative. So, senior year, putting plans in place. What your kids need to do from now until December and actually even beyond. So this is what we're going to do today. We're going to get started with applications, talk about ACT and SAT test results, talk about transcripts. The transcript's the official record that your son or daughter has here at Memorial. Talk about recommendations, whether or not your child needs a recommendation. We'll talk a little bit about financial aid and scholarships, and we'll talk about deadlines. So this is the same PowerPoint basically that we show your children on Monday. So we're doing it a little differently this year. We're doing it through the advisory period that all students have now. So that will be after second hour on Monday is when all of your seniors will see this presentation. So it's very important that they come and participate and observe. Anyway, this is just a reminder we have to them that we want you to at least make a quick little 15-minute appointment with us. Some students will come to us for 15 minutes, be in there, and we won't see them again for quite a while. You know, there's some kids who come in there maybe every other day because they're a little nervous about the process and they need a little extra help. You know, either way is fine. We just like to give kids as much help as they need. So we usually tell them in our meeting Monday to come and make an appointment with us in the next couple weeks. Not that you have to have an appointment in the next couple weeks, but at least come in and make an appointment. So these are your counselors. It might be a little hard to see in the back, but like I said, you can get this tomorrow on the website. I'm not going to read through all this. You can check this out tomorrow. But our phone numbers are on there, and our emails are easy to find on the school website, so it's really easy to find out how to get a hold of us. So this is a reminder to seniors who are meeting this coming Monday that there's a parent meeting tonight. This slide is always in here every year, and this is the first time I've done this where the parents have met before the students have. So that's why this is not very necessary to know. Okay, this is important to know. And this is an opportunity where you might want to take out your phone and put it in the calendar, because this is a really good night. Some of you might have gone last year or in the past. We open this night up to juniors and seniors, and sometimes there's even some sophomore parents that come, but we send this info out to everyone. This is scholarship night. We have a scholarship expert come in and do a presentation on how to apply for scholarships. So this would be a very beneficial night for you to come. And this is a good one to come with your child, whereas this one doesn't matter that much because they're going to see it on Monday. But this night would be great if you and your son or daughter could come to this scholarship night. Here's another one. This is just a little different than scholarship night. A lot of you know that scholarships are something you need to apply for, and they're based on merit. Some are based on financial need. Financial aid is where you have to fill out the FAFSA form. That's the free application for federal student aid. And this night, we do it so late, December 3rd, because you really can't get started on your FAFSA until towards the end of December, around there, because you need tax information. But right after this meeting, you'll be able to at least go onto the FAFSA website and kind of get the ball rolling and get going. I'm going to show you the FAFSA website when we get to it. Once again, FAFSA, you'll hear that maybe a lot from your kids. Free application for federal student assistance. And that will be right here. The scholarship night says it's going to be right here. That might be in the Wisconsin Center, but I think it's growing, so we'll probably have that here as well. But I always send out some emails about a week or two before reminding. Len, you want to click on that hyperlink? I just want to kind of show you guys how easy it is. So this goes right to our Student Services website. So you click on that, and then there we are. That's last year's picture. So scroll down. One of the best links is the one that says Planning Your Future. Click on that one, Len. And this is where you'll find a lot of links, scholarships, financial aid, college visits, college planning, exploring careers. There's just a lot of really good information on here. So the PowerPoint hopefully will be right here, where Mr. Bormino already has some good links. That's usually where he puts the links. So that's great. Go to the bottom right here. There you go. All right, so there's a lot to do and not a lot of time to do it. We ask that the students try to complete everything around December 5th or so. That used to be a lot more important back in the day, and the day was not even probably 5 years ago when they were doing paper applications. But still, we ask for that because there's a lot of January 1st deadlines. And if we try to get them to do things by around the beginning of December, that gives us time to help them send their transcripts if they are confused, figure out how to send their ACT, make sure they've got a recommendation or two if they need them. So we're always kind of trying to push the beginning of December for students to really wrap up the main applications that they're doing. There are some applications that can wait until January, February, March, April. For example, if you know you're going to Madison College in their liberal arts transfer program, they don't have a cutoff date for that. But there are sometimes deadlines. For example, UW-Milwaukee, where some of your children might go, they have a priority list on their housing based on when the application is in. So now that's just one case. There's probably many thousand other cases like that that are dependent on the application date and when kids get the application in. So we just really push them to try to get things done by the beginning of December. These are forms to complete and return. We will give the senior information sheet to all the seniors on Monday. And it's just a double-sided information sheet that we have them fill out that comes back to the counselor. And it's good for us for things like Student of the Month. So if we need to nominate kids for Student of the Month, like from Breakfast Optimist or Rotary or Kiwanis or whoever, then we can look at our senior information sheets and see who is, maybe the best candidate for a certain award, or maybe a scholarship that comes across their desk. So the kids will get that, and we usually ask them to turn it in about a week. A brag sheet, teacher and counselor brag sheets. Now, not all students will have to fill out a brag sheet for a recommendation, but some will. Let me tell you what a brag sheet is if you don't know what that is. So if somebody comes up to me and says, Mr. Maloney, I want you to do a recommendation, or could you please do a recommendation for me? And, I don't maybe know them as well as I should to give them a good recommendation. I give them a form called a counselor brag sheet, and it basically does what it says. They brag about themselves, and then when I'm writing the recommendation, it's easier to write a good recommendation. And the teacher brag sheet is just a little different. So there's two different brag sheets, and they're in our office. And we'll tell the kids that on Monday as well. We'll talk more about whether or not you need a recommendation in a little bit. Remember those days of college? The good old days. So this is really something a slide where we really kind of talk to the students about on Monday. What's influencing what your choices are? I mean, is it location, size, program, atmosphere, distance from home? Mr. Hamill and I always talk about, I wanted to stay close to home. I ended up at St. Norbert College about 30 miles from my mom, and I just needed to be close. I felt I needed to be somewhat close, but, still a little bit away. Mr. Hamill, right away after he graduated, moved to Hawaii. So, you never know. You know your children. I think you probably have an inkling of kind of what they want to do and what they need. Do your research now. This is actually something we tell them when they're freshmen. We start working on this kind of thought process when the kids are freshmen, so they're not just starting to do their research now. Hopefully right now they're kind of finishing up their research. We tell them to use the Student Services website. There's a lot of great information on there. Use the PowerPoint, because there's a lot of great links on there as well. And once again, we say it over and over again, talk to your counselor. We love seeing all our seniors in the next couple months to talk about this kind of thing. So there's a couple college fairs. There's a kind of a local college fair, which is mainly Wisconsin schools, and then a couple from around Wisconsin. And then there's a national one I'll tell you in a minute. This one is at Sun Prairie High School on October 1st, Thursday, October 1st. And they do it at 2 different times because they know that students are very busy. So they have one from 9 to 11 in the morning, which some kids could probably get away with doing if maybe they have a game that night or something, especially if they have really great attendance. This might be a good reason to maybe miss a class or two. They also have it 6:30 to 8:30 at night. So I went to this fair a couple years ago, and it's really good. There's reps from all the colleges in Wisconsin. There's reps from some schools from Minnesota, Illinois, Michigan, Iowa. There was even one from South Dakota. So there's a lot of really nice representation at this college fair at Sun Prairie High School. Then there's a national fair, which is really big. It's at the Wisconsin Center, which is right downtown in Milwaukee on Wisconsin Avenue. And it's huge. It's at this huge conference center. And you almost every college you can think of is at this fair. So this would be another great one to go to. This is on a Sunday afternoon. And not only are there college reps there, there are also seminars, financial aid, scholarship, things like that. There are definitely things more than just college reps. So this might be a good thing to go to. This has been going on for a long time, and it always has great attendance. So keep this in mind for Sunday, September 27th. So these are also things we actually show kids when they're a freshman, and they're really not incredibly relevant to seniors now since they've chosen all their classes already. But it still is important for them to see right now if let's be honest, some of them may not know exactly what they're going to do, okay? So, they're going to be looking at a whole bunch of different schools. And you're going to be able to see this one right here compared to this one. I'm going to go back. Compared to this one. So this is Madison College and schools like that, technical schools. This is UW-Madison or schools like that. And then this is a school like, for example, maybe like La Crosse or Eau Claire or, UW state schools. So it just kind of gives you an idea of what students need to get into these type of schools. Now, I use a lot of the websites. That's what we use these days to help kids with their decision making. Almost every college that I've ever visited has pages like this. It's usually under admissions, so you want to click on admissions, and then it's usually under something like freshman requirements or freshman expectations, that kind of thing. So take a look at this with your son or daughter over the next couple weeks at home. Just kind of see what the requirements are. I was looking today at University of Minnesota's requirements. I'm going to tell a story of a girl came to me about 6 years ago after this presentation, or after the one we gave to students, and she said, Mr. Maloney, I just found out I want to go to University of Kansas and they need 1 year of computer science. And, we're 2 weeks in, it's kind of late to get started, but it wasn't too late for her to change a class and get into a computer science class so she would fill all her requirements. So, we're 2 weeks in, but if a senior needs something for their school that they want to go to, we can work with them and try to figure out a way to get it, whether it's a face-to-face class or maybe an online class, just so they can fulfill all the requirements that they need. So this is, like I said, a school like UW System Schools. This is what UW-Madison generally needs. UW-Madison usually accepts the top 15% of students from Memorial High School. Generally, you know, around a 27 ACT and around a 3.7, 3.75 GPA. You know, we're in Madison, Wisconsin, and we have a great school, and a lot of kids want to go there. So we can, this is some good information about that. And, you know, not for everyone, but the beauty of Madison is we have great schools here. We have an incredible public university in UW-Madison. We have a wonderful private college, Edgewood College. And Madison College is also a real treasure that we have here, that's even gotten better year after year. And, you know, it's probably not going to be for many of the kids, many of your kids, but we definitely have quite a few kids that go there, and you never know what's going to happen. There might be financial issues that make a kid, you know, maybe have to do this for a year or two. They have a wonderful transfer program. If they have to stay at home for a year or two, go to Madison College for a year or two, you know, stay at home, pay $4,000, maybe instead of paying, you know, maybe $20,000 at other schools. Like I said, it's not going to be for everyone, but it's a great option if you need it. So we have Madison College here quite often to work with our kids on applications and financial aid and things like that. So we'll be having a free application fair with Madison College in about a month. They'll come in here, they'll get on computers with kids, sign them up in about an hour, and they'll be done with their application. So, like I said, not for everyone, but it may be for your son or daughter. All right. So one of the things needed besides, so your application is one thing, and then another thing that everyone needs is ACT or SAT results. So when you and I and many of you were trying to get in school, you know, 25, 30 years ago, whatever, 20, you know, certain schools accepted certain tests. That's kind of gone by the wayside now. Every school that we work with will accept either one, okay? There is a difference between these two tests. I'm not going to get into it right now. You can Google ACT versus SAT, and you'll get a great description as what the difference is between the two of them. But almost every school that I know of will accept either one. So when we were in high school, the year before junior year was pretty much the last time you could take it because getting the results back took forever. Now you get results back from the ACT, I know, I'm not sure about the SAT, but you get the results back in 2.5 weeks. So the October, the November's not an ACT, that's a SAT date, but the October and the December ACT are not too late at all if your son or daughter wants to try to do the ACT again, and that November date's for the SAT. So right on the website, Len, would you click on ACT? Just want to show this real quick. Right on the ACT website is a link right over to the left, almost to the bottom where it says send your scores. So it's really easy. Go to the Google ACT, get to this site, send your scores, and it shows you 3 different ways you can send scores to colleges. And there are some dates, just so you know. There's a October 24th, and the nice thing about that is the deadline for registration is next Friday, September 18th. So if your son or daughter wants to give it another try, you can sign up. The deadline's September 18th for the October 24th ACT. All right, SAT subject tests. I'm not going to talk a lot about this because not many of you will need to do this. I'm going to refer you to the website tomorrow to have you read about this because some of your kids will need SAT subject tests, but not many. So please just refer to this or talk to your counselor, your son or daughter's counselor, about SAT subject tests. And that's way too small to read, but when you look at it tomorrow on your computer, it's easier to, it just talks more about SAT subject tests. All right, paper applications, believe it or not, there are still a few kids every year who do paper applications. That's how I'm sure we all did them. I remember, I think I applied to 4 different UW schools, and I had those 4 different thick packets right in front of me. You had to do 4 different ones. Well, you don't have to do that anymore. I'm not even going to dwell on this. We will help your child with a paper application if they want to do that, but it's really not the way to go. So I'm going to move on to the online applications. So you complete it electronically online, pay with a credit card. They may have to print something called a counselor page. There's not many schools that ask for that anymore, but there may be, and then they come and bring that to us. And then we send transcripts using parchment. I'm not going to go to that yet because I'm going to show the video in a second. So applications can be started now. Actually, websites, I was checking some over the summer, and I'm sure some of your kids were doing this too. Some of them were up and running already in August. So the online applications are up and running, and if they can try to get them done, by the beginning of February, that would be great. Click on that UW Help link at the bottom line. So this is specific to UW colleges, but I just want you to be aware of this website. This website's fantastic if your son or daughter's thinking about going to a UW school, whether it's UW-Madison or Green Bay or Oshkosh, or even some of the 2-year schools. It's just got great information. Mr. Mormino's pulling up something called Major Mania right now, where, maybe type in a keyword up there, Len, where you just go on this Major Mania, you type in a keyword, and it shoots out all the kind of schools that have either a major in that, or a minor, or maybe just classes in it. So it might be kind of going slow right now. But anyway, this is Major Mania. And if you can even Google that. I sometimes just Google Major Mania and it comes right to it. I have a kid in my office and I say, what are you thinking about majoring in? Instead of going at it, where do you want to go to school? What do you want to major in? And then it gives them all kinds of options. Right there, so Lenny put in biology, and it's going to list. It's got 3 pages worth of different kind of biology majors or minors, etc. Great. All right, so this is a checklist that Miss Olson developed. All your students will be able to get this on Monday when they're meeting with their counselor. It's a great little checklist. It's paper, we do a lot of things online these days, but this is a good organizer just to keep a nice visual in front. Maybe you have it at home on the counter and you write down all the schools and just keep a checklist going so you know that they're on top of things. Like I said, this checklist will be available to them, and you could even from the PowerPoint print it up yourself at home. But we'll also have those in our office. Okay, so UW, this is brand new this year, and Miss Olson just told us about this morning. So I'm kind of, while I'm looking at this, I'm kind of reading it for the first time as well. So UW Help and DPI, the Department of Public Instruction, have come together for a pilot program to help students with college questions. So students will get reminders about the application process through text messages. Students can text back their questions. And this is the nice thing, even though it's through DPI and UW Help, it doesn't have to be questions about UW system schools. It can be questions about any school. So how to opt into this service? We cannot have this as a service to students if they're under 18 unless there's a signature by the parents. So I think what I'll have maybe Len do is kind of pass a bunch of these back and we'll collect them at the end, because then your student can be part of this great new pilot project. We don't know a lot about it because it's brand new, but it sounds pretty neat where if they have any question, where they'll get text messages about application reminders, and also they can text back questions. So if you're interested in that, we're going to have you sign that. Go ahead. Say it again. At the end? So don't pass them out then? So we're going to have these spread out. Maybe we'll have half of them in the back on a chair on the back if you want to just get out of here, and then we'll have half of them spread out up here. So maybe Mr. Romino, since people might want to leave, if anybody's leaving early, just put those back in the back. So I'm really interested to see what this is going to be like. This could be a really nice service for your children. All right, recommendations. Okay, so I talked a little bit about brag sheets. We push juniors hard at the end of their junior year, now seniors. We pushed your kids hard last year to ask their teachers at the end of last year, just to walk up to them and say, hey, listen, I'm going to be going to college, in a year, hopefully, and I'm going to need a recommendation. Would you mind writing one? So hopefully a lot of your kids have already talked. Hi, Mr. Jensen. So hopefully a lot of your children already have a recommender. Hopefully, we know the truth. A lot of them might not. So if they don't, it'd be great for them to go and ask. But that's only if they need one, okay? And students need one if the college asks for it, a recommendation or two, if they're on the bubble, okay? So if your child knows they want to go to UW La Crosse, okay, and they have a 3.9 grade point average and they have a 30 ACT, they don't need a recommendation, okay? If your child, if you know your child is going to go to Madison College for 2 years, they don't need a recommendation, okay? If I'm saying anything wrong, Lenny, let me know. If even UW-Madison says, if you don't need one, don't send one. So UW-Madison, you'd almost have to have like a 30 or over on an ACT and probably a 3.8 and above. However, a lot of your children are going to be on the bubble of getting into a school because a lot of them are going to apply to more than one school. So a lot of them are going to have bubble schools where they're just kind of on the border. In that case, they should be talking to their they should be talking to their teacher already or in the next week or two. Okay, so this is one thing you might want to harp on them a little bit. Go home and say, do you think you're going to need a recommendation or two? Have you talked to a teacher yet? This might be a good little, I know how they, don't want you to get involved that much, but this would be a really good thing to kind of ask them about. And we have the brag sheets in our office. They can come to us, get a brag sheet if needed. Some of your kids might have a resume. We've been working with 10th and 11th graders. The counselors have on developing a resume. And if you have younger kids, we're actually going to do that in like a month from now in their advisory. We're going to work on building a resume. If they have a resume, that can be a great brag sheet. Then they don't need a brag sheet. So some of your kids might have resumes, so that can count as a brag sheet. So recommendations might be needed by some kids. I'll spend about 30 seconds on this. Some of your children might be applying for early action or early decision. It's very, very rare, but I know there's some in here that are. Please just take a look at this slide tomorrow. Click on that orange link up at top, and it has a great explanation. It goes to the SAT College Board website. Great explanation of what early decision and early action is. Transcripts. This is much different than it was maybe when your first child was going through the process, maybe 4 years ago. We no longer send transcripts. Now we do it through what's called parchment.com. Kids get on there, set up an account, and send a transcript. I think you have to pay like $3.50 or something like that per transcript. But I'm just going to show you a really nice video. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but maybe about 30 seconds. It's this parchment video right here. You might have to pause it for a second. I don't have the volume on. Well, we gotta pause that music. It's that one up there, just a second. Just exit out. I don't know what that is. All right, so here is, that was just ambiance music before the show, before the night. I'm blushing. All right, so anyway, here is, in the PowerPoint is a great link to this YouTube.
So up here you see I already typed that in. I'm at their website. I'm gonna click sign up now. Start putting in my name. Andrew Stendall. If your parents were doing this yet, you click here, fill out your name. Otherwise, if you are a student doing this, go ahead and fill this out now and hit sign up when you are finished. Once you click sign up, you can now click start.
It's about a 3-minute video, and I watched it the other day, and it answered a lot of questions I had about parchment also. So it would be great for you to sit down with your child and watch that parchment video, because it answers a lot of questions about how to actually send transcripts. And then the parchment.com link will get you right to the website, and you can start filling that out with your child or have them do it. Every school that your child applies to needs a transcript, and we cannot send those. Sometimes they'll come into us and say, I've got a deadline, Mr. Maloney. Now, if their school is saying they have a deadline for a transcript and they want it faxed, we can give them an unofficial transcript. We can definitely do that. But there have been just a few schools that I have seen will accept that. So parchment's the way to go for most kids. All right, financial aid and scholarships. We said that there is a scholarship night on October. Question?
One quick question about transcripts and test scores and stuff. That stuff can start going into schools now, even though...
Yeah, that's great. Great question. The question is, can transcripts go in before the application goes in? And the answer is yes. So I always picture it like the admissions department has like a file folder. I don't think they have that. But once they get one thing from a student, they set up a kind of a file. Maybe it's a virtual file, but they set it up. So even if they get an ACT score, they put that ACT score in a file, and they have maybe a checklist. This is what I envision. Then they get a transcript. That goes in the file. Then they get the ACT scores, and then they get the application, and then they get the money, the application fee. Am I missing anything? I think I got most of the things. Yeah, recommendations, you really don't want those to be the last thing, because an admissions counselor or admissions office will not wait on that unless they're mandatory, okay? That'll be part of their checklist. But let's say UW-Madison, let's say your child is applying there. So they get the ACT scores, they get the transcript, the application fee. That's it for UW-Madison. Those recommendations are kind of, optional. So UW-Madison will start evaluating that. If those recommendations come in a month later, I don't know, that they could re-review it again, but maybe they won't. So if recommendations are optional, I would get those in around the same time as the application is due. That's a great question. So financial aid, make sure you check the financial aid box on the application that you're going to apply for financial aid. There's no reason not to. There aren't many people, I don't think, that don't need some kind. Even student loans are financial aid. So if your kids are just doing a loan, they still need to do the FAFSA form. Start looking for scholarships now. Our scholarship night on October 12th. Our website, that's a link right there to Student Services website. Our webpage has a lot of great information on financial aid and scholarships. Read the monthly JMM bulletin. Mr. Mormino has a student who every week updates our scholarship bulletin. So anytime we get a new scholarship, that student gets that scholarship and updates the bulletin. So keep your eyes, or have your children keep looking at that monthly scholarship bulletin, and that is on our website, Student Services website. Attend the meeting on October 12th, the financial aid meeting on the 3rd, complete the FAFSA, end of December, beginning of January, beginning of February. A lot of schools have maybe like around a March 1st deadline for financial aid. It's not a bottomless pit of money. As of March 1st, some schools cut it off and say, this is priority. All the kids who got it in so far are prioritized. The ones after, maybe we can get you some money if we have it. So that's an important piece of, that's important to get that done by as soon as you can in January if possible. You actually don't need your exact financial numbers to complete that. You can complete the form with an estimate of your income, and then later, if it's a little off, you can report it to the FAFSA, you can report it to the federal government later. So you'd be better off to try to do an estimate. Let's see, apply for local scholarships. Local scholarships, we have about 40 scholarships here that are just for memorial students. None of them are huge, but most of them are around 1,000 or so. Every little bit helps. We usually get about 200 applications for those 40 scholarships, so the odds aren't terrible on that one. So your son or daughter will get the local scholarship form in December in their English class, and I will also, the emails that I send you out that you get, I'll also have a local scholarship application attached to that as well. That's a paper form. That's not an online form. We're not quite there yet. So that's a paper form that they have to fill out. And then another hyperlink at the bottom, UW Help. I just noticed today, I was just surfing around. They have a really nice scholarship site. So check that out as well. All right, we don't want your seniors to do the senior slump or whatever it's called. Colleges can take back an acceptance if your seniors have a bad year, okay? So you can tell them what we just said. They're going to hear it on Monday. This is something you want to keep repeating. Mr. Maloney said a college can take back your acceptance if you have a bad senior year. So it's really important. A lot of them think it's only based on 3 years of high school. That's true for the initial acceptance, but after that, they want semester grades, they want final grades, so it's important to have a strong senior year. And the flip side of that is if somebody's borderline, just not, right on the edge of getting in, if they have a really great senior year, that can put them over the top. We'll even send in quarter grades, if they're looking real good. Then we'll send in semester grades as soon as we can. A strong senior year can put kids over the top if they're right on the bubble. These are 2 slides for students, so I'm just going to pass through. We are looking for peer tutors, especially seniors, and then we're looking for peer mentors too, kids that can help in a new program we have here to help other younger kids who are struggling in school. So we'll really drill this into the kids' heads on Monday. We just need some good senior leaders to help us with these. Little reminder to seniors that we just need 15 minutes of their time. Many of them will take more than that, but we at least want to meet with each one of them for 15 minutes. And seniors, don't forget about that parent night on September 10th. So, it's funny, they're just starting their senior year, but we're already kind of pushing them to start looking at next year already. And there are timelines and deadlines that they have to follow. Try to get everything done by December 4th. First week of December would be great. It's your responsibility. We do not know what every college is looking for. So kids have to look at what colleges they're applying for and see what those colleges are asking for. All right, so once again, please check the website tomorrow. Did you put some of those things in the back, Len? So those forms are in the back for that text service. And thank you all very much for coming. Please go with your kids to see your counselor if they're counselor if you can. Give us a call, send us an email. We're here to help you. So thanks everyone for coming.